we can cross to Washington and speak to Eric Lisson, who's a legal analyst and former US federal prosecutor. Thank you so much for joining us. This memo claims that the FBI and the Justice Department abused their power. They spied on the Trump campaign and essentially relied on that famous now report compiled by a former British intelligence official as its main premise. Does that claim, in your view, hold water from a legal standpoint?
Not really, because first of all, that dossier has not really been demonstrated to be overall unreliable, number one. But number two, and perhaps most importantly, there was probably, or so it seems, a great deal of other information in addition to the dossier that was presented. And the problem with this memo is it seems to just want to focus everybody's attention by misleadingly indicating that only this dossier, or implying that only this dossier was presented, when really there were a great deal of other things in addition to the dossier. But to get back to the first point, we don't know that this Steele dossier was fundamentally inaccurate insofar as its key premise is concerned, which is that there were repeated attempts made by Russian officials to infiltrate the Trump campaign. And indeed, the FBI had already had separate information that George Papadopoulos, another foreign policy advisor, was approached by Russian agents in London on numerous occasions, and that he had been told that the Russians had penetrated Hillary Clinton's emails and the DNC emails. So when all of that is put together, there doesn't seem to be anything nefarious in wondering whether this other advisor, Carter Page, who had already made trips to Moscow and who was already identified on intercepts by American intelligence as having been the subject of conversations among Russian agents to the effect that, well, he's an idiot, but he's a willing idiot, and so therefore this is our kind of guy. When you put all that together, there doesn't seem anything wrong in wondering if there's supposed to be, if maybe this person's activities should be surveilled. So all in all, this does not appear to support the president's goal of trying possibly to oust some of the key figures at the Department of Justice.
Okay.